Hi guys, this is Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I am getting into the Aquarius or INTJ, an in-depth astro-psychological analysis on the personality type or the sun sign or the ego, wherever the heck you may have your Aquarius energy within your ego, subconscious, unconscious, or superego. Maybe you are looking into this video for to understand a friend, a romantic partner, business wise, maybe you have a supervisor, whatever the case may be. This video is for you. So I am on video 4 of my Aquarian video presentation series. So I'm going to do a little recap of what the last video was about. I got into the hero cognitive function. I explained what home is, what the right thing to do for an Aquarian feels like, what it is, and then I went into Saturn, Uranus, and then the hero cognitive function, what that is, as well as introverted intuition. So a little brief recap of the last video. Saturn represents how one controls and sets boundaries, how one sees reality, where you gain structure and build structure through people, places, things, or resources, where one places and receives boundaries and restrictions and limits, potential creativity, venting or non-venting of emotional expressions. This could be life blocks in general. Saturn represents getting our acts together and the father figure. Saturn flows us towards being practical, making sense, building, growth, nourishment, caring, but can be cold or cold or dryness, non-emotional awareness. So we can tend to replace this energy with the feminine coldness with material and physical things and logic. It can replace the feminine fulfillment, which is passion, fire, feeling, or emotions. And we will repress that with masculine practicality and logic. So Saturn dedication to structure and discipline suits order in business and politics, as well as the physical frames upon which our buildings and bodies depend. So that is what Saturn represents. Aquarians are ruled by Saturn. And then Uranus is co-ruled here. Uranus is the energy of awakening and sudden drastic change and how we invent. It can represent creation and destruction, uniqueness, originality, change, rebellion, opposition, being radical, or understanding where that line is. Uranus deals with theories, discoveries, and relationships that may seem starting at first. The dynamic possibilities of Uranus are sudden, exciting, and earth-shattering and dangerous. So it deals with innovation, such as new technology, questioning conventional attitudes, can indicate innovative talent, but we need to be aware of pushing, well, it's an arrogant type of thing, imposing change on others for their own good, whether or not they want or need it. So that is what Saturn and Uranus represents. And then I got into introverted intuition. That is the psychological aspect. So introverted intuition represents willpower, the future for self, one's fate. It apprehends ideas, patterns, and perspectives that emerge after processing from within. So what does introverted intuition do? Searches for a deeper layer of meaning, looks for hidden patterns and trends, foresees implications and likely results, is the foundation of strategic thinking, sees things from many different perspectives, reads between the lines, looks for unseen ripple effects of current experience and actions, looks for symbolism and significance beneath reality. All right, so that is a little recap of my last video, and now I'm getting into introverted intuition hero for the Pisces or INFJ and the Aquarius or INTJ. So both Pisces and Aquarius both have introverted intuition hero and extroverted sensing inferior. So the hero Cognitive function can tend to get stuck in extremes, and we're really good at this function, so this is what we resort to. It can be on an autopilot. So the hero introverted intuition quotation is, I'm heroic with what I want. It is an optimistic function. So we have a lot of energy. We have a whole lot of energy to use this function. So NI is a perceiving function with which we or the user takes in the world. Whatever you have in your NI becomes your lifestyle, an overwhelming or overarching idea of what your life can be like. There isn't necessarily a practical use. NI users love identifying patterns, enjoy researching, using metaphors, symbolism, and looking for hidden facts. They can be hypersensitive to stimulus and therefore can see things others miss. With observing and taking in so much from their environment, they might strike an odd balance between hard facts and the patterns, emotions, and connections they make. It is hard for others to get into their heads due to the introversion. So Pisces or the INFJ and Aquarius INTJ are both introverted. So they spend a lot of their time thinking, NI users, about the big picture, the deep meanings behind people's actions and words, and the whys of life. They seek out the deep symbolism behind life events and often analyze the people around them based on impressions and insights. So INFJs or Pisces subconscious detects many patterns in people-oriented issues, while Aquarians or INTJs tend to have gut feelings about the physical world around them, whether it's a concept, career matters, or otherwise. So heroic inflation. This can happen for a Pisces or Aquarius. So when we become overly involved with introverted intuition, we are in heroic inflation. So they can tend to spend all day thinking and not actually doing anything. So both of these types are finisher types within their temperament. So it's hard for them to start things, but once they get rolling, they do see projects through. So they are see it through finisher types. So if you have so much to give it to the world. They're both very perfectionistic and they both have performance anxiety issues. So it can be hard to get out of the gathering phase with NI and TI for Pisces, and then NI and FI for the Aquarius. They can believe their dreams are just as real as reality. So being in reality can be very difficult. That deals with extroverted sensing in the inferior. It's really hard to base yourself, ground yourself in the physical environment. They're very much thinkers in their head. Both Pisces and Aquarians are thinkers. So you can fight me on that. So time can be very difficult to keep track of. Timelines, they have a very hard time remembering things. So there's always going to be lots of mind mapping, sticky notes, taking notes, handwritten in your phone, on your computer, wherever that may be. They're going to both take a lot of notes due to memory storage issues. Both can tend to overcomplicate things because Pisces and Aquarius are trying to find the hidden meanings and reasonings behind things. They can be prone to jumping to conclusions too quickly and misjudge what is actually going on. It can be very hard to change their mind when they have their mind on something. NI heroes will their way through life. They want to find the most efficient and effective path forward. They want to know what's beneath the surface and at the core. They can tend to overanalyze and overinterpret, can become negative and pessimistic about everything, very, very self-critical and very critical on other people. Obsessed with planning for the future, can become too tunnel vision and lose reality in the present. Can be too overconfident and have a God complex. That is definitely a Pisces issue and Aquarius issue, superiority complex. So both Aquarius and Pisces share a hyper-divergent extroverted sensing opposition, and both are very sensitive to the concrete and can be overwhelmed with sensations or overstimulated easily. This can come out as whatever you want to call it, ADD, ADHD. But on the positive side, they can see nuances within their environment and have refined taste. Both can flip into SE Dom states in short conservative bursts. They can be drained and need their downtime or alone time. They gotta have their bubble child time. Okay, so NI is abstraction for its own sake, introverted intuition. Independent of any kind of concrete, vast amounts of internal information in synergistic unison. So, all right, we have more different kind of language coming up here. So with Aquarians, extroverted thinking tends to consume more information and has an easier time following information back to the source, while introverted thinking for Pisces or TI users can tend to infer more than they can infer more than they consume. Pisces struggles with storing and consuming extroverted thinking, while Aquarians or INTJs struggles with storing and consuming extroverted feeling. So Aquarius has an independent introverted feeling center, and Pisces has a introverted thinking theoretical center at their core. So already we're starting to break off here, realizing that INTJs, they are better with boundaries. Aquarians with that Saturn in the hero or the home position, that deals with them being systematic in their temperament so they can break down systems, understand complex problems. But the building the boundaries thing for Aquarius is very, very, a lot more hardcore than Pisces. Pisces tend to be more of a doormat. Aquarians are harder to social engineer because they have that paranoia as their vice. They can be very paranoid with not trusting other people more so than Pisces. And so Aquariuses, they can really block off. They don't allow people to get into their thinking, their mind. Even if you ask them how they're feeling, they're going to be talking about, like something they're working on, or they'll get into like politics. They'll just totally derail, sidetrack you. When someone's trying to get close to an Aquarius, they're always going to have mental blocks. Now, I do have a note on this. I was going to bring that up a little bit later, but I would like to do that right now. So Aquarians, they block people off from their mind. So they're very boxed off with not letting people into how they think. They can be that way if they don't know somebody. And they're not keeping track of social norms, so they can be kind of socially awkward. But they're always going to act distant to those actually close to them, or even those. It's really weird with Aquarius. It's like it can seem they're not lovingly expressive with their words. They're lovingly expressive with their actions, and they're very structured and routine, but they're not going to express it in a warm way like a Leo would. It's going to feel warm. It's going to be a lot more talking about it. But with Aquarians, it's like a kind of like a distant, they always have a barrier there when it comes to people. And so they can kind of tend to miss the point of building relationships. So people close can use me and they understand that, and then they feel caged in. So Sagittarius and Aquarius, they both tend to always keep space between them and other people. Sagittariuses, I have realized, are a lot more hands-on with the extroverted sensing, they can be very, very sweet, lovey, always wanting hugs and I love yous and things like that. Aquariuses are not as touchy-feely, hands-on warmth. It comes across cold. They don't want to be, they're very loyal, but it's like they always make you feel like they're distant. And they cannot stand clinginess and helping people all the time. It's like they're going to help you, but it becomes so mundane. So deep down inside, they truly love people close, but they think that people should already know that. So why should I have to express that all the time with words? They tend to show love in routine actions rather than words. But they will not be on the same page of reality with others. They have an outside the box with this outlook. They want to surround themselves, Aquarians want to surround themselves with others that are pursuing what they are pursuing. So they're very goal-oriented. They're always like on a mission. And then people that are close to them can see them as distant and or aloof. So they don't want people to get too far into their thoughts. That's like their private space. Yeah, I don't know if that was coherent or not, but it's just there's always going to be space. Koreans just need space. All right. Pisces are going to be more expressive. The intimacy for Pisces is they're really expressive more so than Aquarians about their emotions and wanting to know. Pisces are going to ask you how you're feeling more than Aquarius. Aquariuses are more about activities and goals and things like that. So just that's kind of like a difference. So INTJs or Aquariuses, they infer how others are feeling, and INFJ or Pisces assumes how a mechanism probably works through the application of TI theory. So they are both actively gazing into their internal world, which makes them run away from their concrete reality. They will live in abstraction rather than making their dreams into reality. They can both be they can both procrastinate a lot. All right, so Pisces or INFJs are more people-focused. They have the extroverted feeling, empathy, sensitivity. It's harder for Pisces to maintain composure during conflicts and will try to diffuse the tension. They are motivated to improve others. Pisces are less reserved socially than Aquarius and can pick up more social cues, especially body language and emotions. So Pisces are scanning the room for emotional body language, and that is not the world that Aquarius is in. Pisces tend to meet their needs more holistically rather than methodically. Pisces are very aware of their inner world, but seals themselves off towards the outer world. It is very hard for others to get inside their head, just like Aquarius. It's harder for Pisces to take constructive criticism. So Pisces cannot handle criticism. They cannot take it as well as Aquarius. Pisces prioritize expressing their feelings with people they trust or through creative means. Okay. So we have the convergent stack, NITI, change, direction, interaction, holistic, organic process inspired by SE and FE. We have TI divergent, F convergent, and FE divergent. So introverted thinking for Pisces tends to be more organic and creative or even chaotic, while extroverted feeling tends to be more cautious and observant. So introverted intuition is connected to Pisces introverted thinking, It can be very objective. It is the overview of their internal world. Pisces take in social information with their extroverted feeling and stores it within their introverted intuition and introverted thinking. If Pisces get stuck in the NITI loop, they will be immune to outside influences. They are constantly assessing their objective reality and are constructing a new objective reality inside their head. Pisces will convince themselves they are always right and don't need other people or the world, which is the extroverted sensing inferior. This is highly delusional, and if caught in this, they will drive themselves deep into depression, sometimes without even knowing it. They tend to not check in with themselves emotionally. So Pisces will check in with others emotionally, but they are not checking in with themselves emotionally. Now, Aquarians, on the other hand, they are a lot more in tune with themselves emotionally, so they have better boundaries with others. Pisces then won't even understand why they can't get out of the bed in the morning. So Pisces can tend to get not ask for help and get very depressive. They are a water sign, so they can tend to wallow in the depths. I don't know if I can do this on here. I might have to take a break. Oh, maybe I can. Sorry, I just got a notification. Okay, I think I can do that on my watch. Hopefully my video and audio are still going. Okay. Where was I? So a more balanced Pisces will take the social information, organize their internal framework for a greater understanding, and then expunge the information back into the outer world so that it is a feedback loop. Extroverted feeling information taken in, understood, then Pisces use extroverted feeling to benefit the world. Pisces create new frameworks through an ideal lens and then actively communicates that to other people in order to anchor into reality to form deep bonds with others. Pisces are very much so emotionally intimate in that way. Pisces want to share their knowledge for the betterment of humanity collectively and individually. Pisces can be in a constant state of theoretical reformulation, in which an Aquarius would have trouble replicating due to the more practical, extroverted thinking, what can be seen. So Pisces has a divergent stack with SE and FE, so the social nuances and empathy. Extroverted feeling authority instills highly conscious and social, and they could be very socially cautious. So Pisces are a lot more socially cautious than Aquariuses. Aquariuses are not in tune with social norms like Pisces. All right, so now I'm going to get into the introverted intuition hero for the Aquarius or the INTJ. So Aquariuses are more concept and self-focused. Pisces were more people focused with their FE. So Aquarians are more self and concept focused because they have FI. Extroverted thinking is more objective than introverted thinking. Aquarians aren't as emotional when in conflict compared to Pisces. Aquarians are more reserved than Pisces. They tend to take criticism much better than Pisces, as FI doesn't falter like FE with external input. Aquarians can be very consumed in competing with themselves. Yes, absolutely. Aquarians compete with themselves. Aquarians don't try to spare others' feelings and will give their honest feedback. Pisces, they are going to tiptoe around a lot more than Aquarians. Aquarians, I think, are probably more direct and blunt. Aquarians don't express their feelings often at all. So Aquarians are more in tune with their own feelings, although they aren't going to express that like Pisces. Pisces are more in tune with others' feelings. and they're going to try to talk more about feelings than Aquarius. All right, so Aquarius has a convergent stack of Ni and Fi. Experiential self-transformation. They're always trying to self-transform. So Fi convergent with Te divergent. Aquarians can find themselves in a constant process of self-reflection and self-transformation. Divergent stack, SETE, nuance of mechanisms and aesthetic detail. So they are very in tune with the nuance of mechanisms and aesthetic detail. Aquarians can take in mechanical information from the outside world and forms introverted feeling connections to those external constructs. Aquarians form deep attachments to those mechanisms. They rely on external mediums in order to realize their happiness. With TENI, that takes in that information, and then they'll feel with NIFI very lonely and powerless. It's hard for them to get out of their NIFI idealistic loop. Aquarians balance between extroverted thinking and extroverted sensing and can use their introverted intuition. They can use their attachment to extroverted thinking mechanical external world to reflect on the nature of the object and actually innovate it. So Pisces are more in tune and connected with other people's emotions, and that's kind of where they're getting their self-worth. And then on the other hand, with Aquarians are more attached to the mechanical external world. It has nothing to do with the other people's feelings. They're attaching their own self-worth to what they can innovate, or if they're dealing with whatever system, making a system more efficient, whatever the case may be that they're working on. That's how they are gaining their self-worth and what they are focused on. So Aquarians can make extroverted thinking things better than what they were before. Aquarians are geared towards inventing things due to their personal attachment to things in the outside world. It can even become their entire meaning of living. They have an unrelenting passion for any subject they pursue. Aquarians can continuously innovate, make new inventions, and lead us into a more technologically advanced future. When Aquarians can anchor themselves in the moment with extroverted sensing, they are able to actively relate to the emotional needs of other people. It is hard for them, but they can. They can use their mechanical genius to benefit other people while achieving their goals as well. So divergent extroverted thinking instills a sense of competency, practicality, and logical caution. So extroverted thinking information is mechanistic, excuse me. So TE information is mechanistic and it has parameters. They abide by those parameters, by the mechanistic parameters. So they plan for the future systematically. They have it's like extroverted thinking is very task list oriented. They're always looking at things in like blocks or check boxes. How much time is this going to take? How can I prioritize this list to get it done efficiently? What's my next step? They're very, very strategic. So they are like looking at things in time blocks and check boxes. They're task list. They're very task list oriented. They check one thing off and then they go to the next while being able to view the entire list. I have a phone call, so I'm going to be right back. Okay, I am back. Hopefully you can hear me well. Excuse me. All right, I am back. Splicing videos together always. All right, so hopefully the audio is good to go. All right, so now I'm going to throw this all together. The first section, we have astrologically, Saturn rules Aquarius, co-ruled by Uranus. We have introverted intuition hero. So we're throwing Saturn, Uranus, and introverted intuition all together. So how does this play out for an Aquarius or INTJ? Now, I do need to edit this section. I've probably got 5 pages here to read off. It's not exactly organized. This week, I'm going to start organizing my notes, my note section here, and throwing everything together. But I'm going to go over this as best as I can. And hopefully by the end of the week, I will have this book launched. All right, so the virtue is trust, and their vice is paranoia. They can be very gullible and be taken advantage of or taken for a ride. Aquarians learn very early on to not let their guard down, which gets into their vice of paranoia. Now, Aquarians, they are very humanitarian and they're very focused on efficiency and systems and trying to be of help to others in those areas. They are an air sign, they're an intellectual. And so they very much so, if you find an Aquarius in a work environment, they're going to be the ones that are the bird's words, so to speak, like Libras and ENTPs and Geminis. All the air signs are going to be the people that you want to go to for your information. Aquarians very much so believe in everyone being on the same page, you know, like having a meeting between shifts on your in your work environment. They're the ones that are going to be talking and wanting to know issues, wanting everyone to be on the same page. If there's issues, if there's not issues, how can we make this better? They are the ones that are going to want to train people the best that they can, and they just want everyone to have the information. So that is a huge thing that I myself am all about. I am all about quality. I am all about maintaining things so that it moves faster. I just want to get in and get out and get done. So they're very career focused, and that definitely involves the spreading of good, solid information between people. But they can be used as a vessel. They are not really aware of what other people are getting out of things, and so they can be taken for a ride. Aquarians are introverted. They can go both ways, and I can go both ways. So Pisces and Aquariuses are both hardcore introverted, but, you know, they both tend to have big social networks, big social groups, because they're wanting to keep in tune with culture, what is going on, politics, culture, the flow of the consciousness, where people are at intellectually, you know, just socially. Okay, so they don't tend to speak much. They can go both ways, though. And if they are speaking, Aquarians really lighten the mood. I've noticed this. I do this too. I'm an Aquarius Mercury. I love Aquarius people because normally, especially the females, males are going to be more mechanically involved, trying to fix things and solve complex problems, but they're always going to try to lighten the mood. They're very, very comical. They have that Leo subconscious, and I actually just met a Leo over the weekend. I had a lot of fun this weekend. I did finish editing. I ended up going to a car show, and see, now I'm a part of this car group, and because of my fiance, there was a little bit of drama, actually. An Aquarian head to head. Aquarius went head to head. Anyways, but Aquarians can be very involved in social groups, and it's hilarious because um I hung out with an Aquarius and a Leo, and this Leo man, like, I don't know very many Leos, and this Leo was a comedian. Like, we ended up hanging out after the car show. It was so much fun. I just love seeing a diverse, my work, where I work at, it is a playground for personalities. Like, I don't really like people, so to speak. I want people to do good for themselves. I want them to have good information. I am an introvert, but it is a playground for personalities, and Aquarians involve themselves in order to get a hand on what is going on socially, whether that be in a car group or any type of group. They associate themselves that way. So yeah, I don't know, side tangent again. But anyways, so Aquariuses, they can go both ways. They're introverted, but they can tend to be very social. They don't speak much. If they are one of the ones that they don't speak much, they can still hurt anyone with their words. It's a cold, icy sword. They can be very direct and blunt. Aquariuses are going to be more icy with, like, their sharp tongue than Pisces. Pisces are going to dance around that a little bit more. But Aquarians, they are going to be very blunt, very honest. If you ask them, they're going to give you the hard facts. So they can tend to neglect themselves. Aquarians need to show more gratitude and not focus on themselves and their own feelings, their own reputation. They can have a superiority complex in their thinking. They're thinking that they are the master race. They do think very highly of themselves. Their time is everything. If an Aquarius is giving you their time, be extremely appreciative of that, because they're extremely selective with their time. They can show sympathy. They're not in the emotional world like Pisces. They are in the thinking world, but they can be very sympathetic of other people. But they do need to show more gratitude towards other people. It's an issue. Like, they're just always, they always keep space between themselves and other people. But they can become very nihilistic. But they can become very nihilistic and self-entitled. It is a problem due to their vice of paranoia, not trusting other people. So they have extroverted intuition nemesis. They worry about others' intentions. Aquariuses, they are the most paranoid of all the personality types. They can be. It is like, I know, like, I'm coming from obviously being a woman, but I have a very, very hard time trusting people, and it takes a long time. I will watch somebody in their actions, how they interact with other people. Are they consistent? Things like that. It takes me a long time to open up to people. Topically, I can talk, that's fine. But if you're wanting to actually get to know me and what I think, it's hard. It's difficult. There's always going to be like a time frame of 6 months maybe, and then I can open up to you. It just really depends, but I don't like to get too personal. There's got to be space there. And I have another phone call. Okay, I'm having a hard time getting into a flow because I keep getting phone calls. All right, so okay, so they can tend to burn bridges quickly or never let anyone in off of perceived injustice. They never give people benefit of a doubt. SE inferior needs consistency, like I was just explaining. SE inferior, others. So Aquarians are always wanting other people to explain themselves all the time and their intentions. They are not very aware of what other people are getting out of things and their intentions. So they have the vice of paranoia. So NI, introverted intuition, when there's a will, there's a way. They're always willing their way through life. They're very tunnel vision on their goals, and they will stop at nothing to get to their goals, one step at a time. They're always looking in time blocks, task lists, trying to prioritize all these tasks. I mean, I do this all the time. Like with my book, I've got a huge 2-page thing full of little editing things I need to do with my Aquarian book. There's just a lot. We're always writing notes, and task lists. It's a huge, huge thing, and that's what makes us feel good. Getting a project slowly done over time. So they can have a hard time. Koreans can have a hard time initiating because they don't want to give others a bad experience. They have terrible performance anxiety. They spend a lot of time in their head with anxiety, thinking about all of the multiple things that could happen potentially. And, how am I coming off to somebody? Am I giving this person a good experience? So they're always worried about that in the back of their head. So, like I said, they have the Leo subconscious. They can be very comical. They're always wisecracking. They're always trying to lighten the mood. They're extremely entitled about their time, like I said. They are problem solvers. They love solving complex problems. Aquarians dislike social norms and religious norms. Aquarians are kind of like they are almost. They have a lot in common with Pisces. And Pisces can tend to get very stuck in Aquarius and Pisces, whatever they are studying on, whatever is inside of their introverted intuition, whatever they are gathering information on, it consumes their entire life. They become it. They are it. And so I think Pisces are probably more prone to getting stuck in religion. But, both Pisces and Aquariuses, they have a knee-jerk reaction to authority. I have been this way my entire life. I was raised Catholic, and I took it extremely seriously, but up to a certain point, I think I was like 13 or 14, I started seeing the hypocrisy in everyone and the systems and religions and social norms of decorating for whatever holiday is coming up. There's so many like holidays made up in the last like 5 years. It's just I don't get into those things. I'm like detached. I'm like more in tune with the astrological. Like the new year is Aries season, not January. We just look at life totally different than most of society. We're very understood, and that's like eventually you get to a point of being okay with not fitting in. And so Pisces and Aquarians are like that astronaut. It's like we're in it, but not of it. And we're just so highly aware of that. And we're okay with that. So we're always pushing boundaries with social norms, with authority. It's religion has caused a lot of war and chaos. It's good to have solid principles, but in the same breath, Aquarians and Pisces are thinking higher than just religion. We study all religions. We study occult. We study, everything, and then put it all together and have our own way of thinking about it. So, yeah, we don't tend to box ourselves in with that. We're very cultured. We tend to talk to anybody. And yeah, so Aquarians can be insanely impulsive, but can only handle attention from certain select few people. who matters greatly. So I don't know. It's like there's some personalities like extroverts, they love attention, and I do not. That could be my INFJ side, Pisces side, or Aquarian side. Like, I could get two craps less what people think of me. I only hold a select few people in high regard, respectfully admire their mind. I'm very intellectual, so it's like I just don't care for attention. If someone gives me a compliment on how I look, it goes in one ear out the other. Like, I'm an intellectual. Like, that's nothing. I was, it's just annoying. Like, it's not what it just is not a high priority. So INTJs are trying to become, or Aquarius is, they're trying to become the best versions of themselves. They're all about optimization. So Buddha was also an Aquarius on the path of enlightenment. The FI inner child, which we're going to get into with the next section. So they're all about the inner divinity, the highest level of morality. So they're very in tune eventually in their maturity with self-development. They're always working on their own goals. They're trying to become the best version of themselves. INTJs or Aquariuses, they tend to love martial arts. I've noticed that. They're like tinkerers, but martial arts, they can tend to really want to master their own body, their own thinking, and they can become very in tune with their body, even with extroverted sensing there. I have always loved martial arts. I have always trained. I have always been very athletic. I bodybuilt for a decade, and I affiliated myself. I had like 5 gym memberships. I was traveling to Chicago for classes. I've networked with so many people. Like, when I'm into something and studying something, I go hard and I want to master it. So that's definitely an Aquarian type of thing. And that can be with studying all religions, studying fitness, whatever you're into.